Welcome back to the channel, coin lovers and collectors from around the world. Today, we're diving into a fascinating piece of Australian numismatic history, the Australia 5 cents coin from 1978 in very fine condition, and we'll explore its background, composition, collector demand, and of course, its current market value in dollars. Let's start by taking a journey back in time. The Australian 5 cents coin was first introduced in 1966 when Australia transitioned to decimal currency. By 1978, this coin had already become a familiar part of everyday life across the country. It carried with it a sense of stability and continuity, representing the modern Australian monetary system. The design of the coin features the iconic echidna, a unique native animal that symbolizes Australia's rich wildlife. This design has remained consistent for decades, making the coin instantly recognizable to both Australians and collectors worldwide. Now, when we talk about a 1978 coin in very fine condition, we are referring to a coin that has seen some circulation, but still retains clear details. The echidna's spikes are visible, the text is sharp, and the overall appearance is still quite attractive. There may be light wear on the high points, but nothing that significantly reduces its visual appeal. This level of preservation makes the coin quite desirable for collectors who appreciate history without needing a perfect mint-state example. Moving on to the background and composition, the 1978 Australian 5 cents coin is made from cupronickel, which is a blend of this combination gives the coin its silver-like appearance and durability. It weighs exactly and has a diameter of. One interesting aspect of these coins is that they were produced in large numbers at the Royal Australian Mint, which means they are relatively common compared to rare collectible coins. However, their historical significance and consistent design still make them an important part of any coin collection. When it comes to collector demand, the 1978 Australian 5 cents coin holds a steady place in the market. While it is not considered rare, it is widely collected as part of full-date runs or typesets of Australian decimal coins. Collectors who are building complete sets from 1966 onward will definitely want a well-preserved example from 1978. The demand is especially strong among beginner and intermediate collectors because the coin is affordable and easy to find, yet still carries historical charm. Its popularity also comes from the beautiful echidna design, which adds a unique character to the collection. Now let's talk about the current market value. In very fine condition, a 1978 Australian 5 cents coin typically holds a modest value. As of today, it generally ranges between around $148,000 to $750,000. In some cases, depending on eye appeal and slight variations in condition, it might sell for a bit more, especially if included in a complete set or sold in bulk collections. While this may not seem like a high value, it's important to remember that coin collecting is not always about high prices. It's about history, enjoyment, and the satisfaction of building something meaningful over time. For collectors, there are always opportunities to grow and improve your collection. When searching for a 1978 Australian 5 cents coin, it's a good idea to look for coins with minimal scratches and clear details, especially on the echidna design. Storing your coins properly in albums or protective holders will help maintain their condition over the years. It's also helpful to stay connected with coin collecting communities, both online and offline, where you can learn, trade, and discover new opportunities. Patience is key in this hobby, and every coin you add brings you one step closer to a more complete and valuable collection. As we come to the conclusion, the Australia 5 cents coin from 1978 in very fine condition may not be a rare treasure in terms of price, but it is certainly a valuable piece of history. It represents a significant era in Australia's decimal currency system and continues to be appreciated by collectors around the world. Whether you are a beginner or an experienced numismatist, this coin has something special to offer. Next up, coin number 2. Today, we're going to explore a small coin with a surprisingly interesting story and real collector appeal. The Australia 5 cents coin from the year 2000, especially in very fine condition. If you've ever come across this coin, or you're thinking about collecting Australian currency, This video will give you a complete understanding of its history, value, and why collectors pay attention to it. Let's start with a bit of history. The Australian 5-cent coin was first introduced in 1966, when Australia switched to decimal currency. Since then, it has remained one of the smallest denominations in the country's coinage system. The year 2000 is particularly notable because it marked a significant period in Australia's modern history, including global attention during the Sydney Olympics. While the 5-cent coin from that year wasn't a special commemorative issue, it still represents an important era and carries the classic design that collectors recognize and appreciate. Now, when we talk about a coin being in very fine condition, we're referring to a piece that has clearly been in circulation, but still retains most of its important details. You can still see the design elements, such as the echidna on the reverse side, with moderate wear. The edges may be slightly worn, and some finer details might be softened, but overall the coin remains attractive and collectible. Condition plays a huge role in determining value, so even small differences in wear can impact the price. Moving on to the background and composition of the coin, the Australian 5-cent coin is made from cupronickel, which is a blend of copper and nickel. This gives it durability and a silver-like appearance that resists corrosion over time. The coin features Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse side, as was standard for Australian coins of that era, while the reverse side showcases the echidna, one of Australia's unique native animals. This design has remained consistent for decades, making it instantly recognizable and a favorite among collectors who enjoy wildlife-themed coins. When it comes to collector demand, the 2000 Australian 5-cent coin is not considered extremely rare because it was minted in large quantities. However, that doesn't mean it lacks interest. Collectors who focus on date runs or complete sets of Australian coins often seek out coins from every year, including 2000th. The demand increases when the coin is in better condition, especially if it approaches uncirculated quality. Even in very fine condition, there is still a steady level of interest, particularly from beginner collectors or those completing affordable collections. Now let's talk about the current market value. In very fine condition, the Australia 5-cent coin from the year 2000 typically has a modest value. In today's market, it generally sells for around 130,000 to 150,000 Australian dollars. Sometimes it may even trade close to it if the demand is low, but in collector circles, it can fetch a slightly higher price depending on presentation and buyer interest. While it may not be a high-value coin, it still holds importance as part of a complete collection and can be a stepping stone for new collectors entering the hobby. For those of you who are collectors or thinking about becoming one, there are some helpful tips to keep in mind. Always pay attention to condition because even common coins can become more valuable when preserved well. Store your coins properly using holders or albums to prevent scratches and environmental damage. It's also a good idea to learn how to grade coins accurately so you can understand what you have and avoid overpaying when buying. Patience is key in collecting, and building a complete set over time can be both enjoyable and rewarding. Even coins with small values can bring big satisfaction when they complete a collection. As we come to the conclusion, it's important to remember that not every coin needs to be rare or expensive to be meaningful. The Australia 5-cent coin from 2000 in very fine condition may not make you rich, but it carries history, design beauty, and a place in the broader story of Australian currency. For collectors, it represents consistency, dedication, and the joy of preserving small pieces of the past. Next up, coin number 3. Today, we are going to explore a very interesting and often overlooked coin, the Australia 5-cent coin from 1968, in very fine condition. Many people have this coin lying around in drawers, old collections, or even mixed with everyday change, but very few actually understand its true value and importance. Let's take a closer look at this small but fascinating piece of history and discover what it could be worth in today's market. Now first, let's talk about the history of this coin. The Australian 5-cent coin was introduced in 1966 when Australia transitioned to decimal currency. The 1968 issue is part of those early years, which already makes it more interesting for collectors. This coin features the iconic echidna on the reverse side, a unique native animal of Australia, and the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse. Because it comes from the early decimal era, collectors often appreciate these coins for their historical significance, as well as their design. When we talk about condition, the term very fine is very important. A coin in very fine condition means it has seen some circulation, but still retains clear details. The main design elements, like the echidna's spikes and the queen's portrait, are still visible and not overly worn. This level of preservation makes the coin attractive to collectors because it balances affordability and collectability. It's not heavily damaged, and at the same time, it's not too expensive like uncirculated coins. Now let's move on to the background and composition of this coin. The 1968 Australian 5-cent coin is made from cupronickel, which is a mixture of copper and nickel. This composition gives the coin its silver-like appearance and durability. One of the interesting things about these coins is that their intrinsic metal value is relatively low, so their real worth comes mainly from collector interest rather than the metal itself. Over time, coins like this gain value because of their age, design, and connection to a specific period in history. Collector demand is another important factor that influences the value of this coin. While the 1968 5-cent coin is not extremely rare, it is still popular among beginner and intermediate collectors. People who are building a complete set of Australian decimal coins often look for coins from each year, including 1968 demand increases slightly when the coin is in better condition, such as very fine or higher. Also, collectors who enjoy coins featuring animals or unique designs are often drawn to the echidna design, which adds to its appeal. Now let's talk about the current market value, which is what most of you are probably curious about. In today's market, a 1968 Australian 5-cent coin in very fine condition typically sells for around $30,000 to $50,000. The value may vary depending on the exact condition, eye appeal, and where it is being sold. If the coin is closer to extremely fine condition, it might fetch a slightly higher price. However, it is important to understand that this coin is more of a collectible piece rather than a high-value investment coin. Still, it holds steady value and is a great addition to any collection. For those of you who are collectors or thinking about becoming one, here are some helpful tips. Always check the condition of your coin carefully because even small differences in wear can affect value. Try to store your coins in protective holders to prevent scratches and damage. It is also a good idea to learn basic grading skills so you can better understand what you have. Patience is key in coin collecting, and over time, even small coins like this can become more valuable as demand grows and availability decreases. Another positive tip is to enjoy the journey of collecting rather than focusing only on price. Coins like the 1968 5 cents are a wonderful way to connect with history and culture. Each coin tells a story, and building a collection can be both relaxing and rewarding. As we come to the conclusion, the 1968 Australian 5 cents coin in very fine condition may not be a rare treasure worth hundreds of dollars, but it certainly holds its own charm and value. It represents an important era in Australia's monetary history and continues to attract collectors around the world. Its affordable price makes it accessible, and its design and history make it meaningful. So next time you come across one of these coins, don't ignore it. Take a moment to appreciate it because even the smallest coins can carry big stories and lasting value.